Hello, my name is Gina, and this is roughly what my makeup looks like a few hours after wear. But that's not why we're here today. We're actually here to talk about an interesting experience that I've had that I just want to sit down and talk about just really quickly. So a few things for context before I launch into story time. One is that if you have been following the indie makeup community at all, you know that Sydney Grace, which is an indie brand, just had their Christmas in July sale. A different deal every day of the week. The second one is that before that, another indie brand called Clionadh Cosmetics, they had a 25% off sale on everything on their website. Three is that on my channel, I am very much a believer of buy as much makeup as you want, have as much makeup as you want. My goals here are to help people manage large collections and manage having a lot of makeup efficiently. And for part of that is I'm very anti-shame, very anti like feeling bad for having done things. With all that said, the theme of today's story is that it's not always that easy. I have been out of work for a little over a month now, which was by my own choice. I left my old job with the intent of taking a month off before starting a job search again. And what I have done with that month off is I have done makeup. I've done a lot of makeup and I've made makeup content. So I knew these two sales were coming up. I knew that Clionadh's sale was coming up. I knew that Sydney Grace's sale was coming up. I was like, okay, I know when these sales happens, I'm participating. I've been waiting to try out these brands and like I'm ready to go. And typically the way that I do this is I do a lot of research, right? I look through the catalog, see what interests me, what I'm excited about. Generally, I make a list and then I go through my collection, kind of comparing what I have with what I want from that brand to make sure that it all matches up. The Sydney Grace sale happens, it starts. And I'm kind of looking at all of the deals that I know are there and I'm like, okay, I have 30 to 35 shadows that I'm gonna pick up, that I know I'm gonna pick up. I've gone through my process, I've got my list. It's gonna be like $150, $160, somewhere in there. And my intent was to buy on the day of the sale. That was, you spend $100 and you get $110 of free product from our collection. So I was like, actually, that's great because then I can buy the shadows that I want and try out other things from their collection that I haven't tried out before. Perfect, great, wonderful. So as the sale progresses, YouTube is kind of, pumping out videos on Sydney Grace because it's timely, it's relevant, it's gonna do well. And then Sydney Grace sent out bundles to a bunch of influencers. And I saw, I believe it was Karen Harris, her video on the Mountain Trail bundle. And the Mountain Trail bundle, I'll put a picture of it here. It is like that earthy kind of green gold thing that I'm totally into. This bundle existed as a part of the sale. On a couple of the days, if you spent more than $50 in the store, you got it for free. So at the price of Sydney Grace shadows, at least, that's basically doubling your order. And I wasn't originally gonna do it because I have a lot of those colors already. And then freaking Karen Harris posted, I think it was both swatches and a look with it, and I was like, fuck it. I'm spending $150 anyway. Why don't I just do $50 on this day to get the Mountain Trail bundle and then $100 on the last day to get the $110 free because it didn't go up from there. So I did the thing on that day. I bought, I want to say 10 or so shadows of the list that I had curated and got the Mountain Trail bundle as well as a gift with purchase. I was like, all right, the only other thing is the the 110 for $100. We've got this, we're good. So the day of the deal comes up and Sydney Grace says, oh, by the way, you have the option to say you can get $110 of product randomly selected throughout our whole collection, or you can just get eyeshadow. And I saw that and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. When I added the thing to my cart, I was like, all eyeshadow. Over 2 days, I bought up to, it depends on what shadows they pick, but up to like 65 eyeshadows at once. And they're all gonna get here at once. And I'm just like, especially because not a week before, I had bought 35 eyeshadows in the Cleona sale. So this month, in August, I will receive almost 100 eyeshadows. For reference, this is 96 eyeshadows. This is an entire Colored Rain 96 pan palette. According to my research, this is the largest magnetic palette currently available. And I have 3 of them that are already full. So, after I made the Sydney Grace order, I went to bed that night and I just went,
oh my God, what did I do?
And I was just filled with this like overwhelming sense of shame. Wow, you really lost control. I can't believe you're gonna do this. How are you going to manage all of this eyeshadow? Like, I was really like wound up about it. And for like 2 days, I was really wound up about it. Amani, my spouse, happened to come in to my studio one morning and like, again, been like, oh my God, what did I do? Amani sat down with me and they were like, well, I don't understand what the problem is, because you planned these purchases. You didn't go into debt. You're out of money from your vacation, but it's the end of the month, so that's about right. And it sounds like the impulse decisions that you made didn't cost you any more money. I was like, yeah, you're right. And I just sat there and I thought about it and I was like, why am I feeling so guilty? Why do I feel so bad? And I kind of realized that, well, so there are 2 parts of it. One is I made impulse decisions, and impulse decisions aren't really my strong suit. But then the other part of it is that I feel like, and I think that this is more common in like the smaller beauty YouTube space, because more of us are spending our own money on makeup. Whenever someone talks about like they made a purchase or like they bought a lot of X or Y, they're like, I don't know what I was doing. I can't believe it. Like, I'm so ashamed. And like there's all this negative self-talk, right? I was watching, I've forgotten her name, but she is the blonde lady from Beauty News. She has a channel of her own, and I actually subscribed to her channel because the headline at the top is just buy the makeup. And I can hear her voice like, just buy the damn makeup. like just buy it. And she had bought, I think, like 7 setting sprays or something. She's like, I don't feel guilty. But even as she was saying that, like, she was like, look, I never said I was sane, you know? And there's so much like self-judgment about it. One of the things that I want to do with my channel is help people find a way to, you know, have a lot of makeup, buy a lot of makeup, but get into that place where they have a lot of it and they legitimately feel no shame about it. They're excited about it. They like it. And here I am, like, beating myself up over purchases that were planned, purchases that are going to add to my collection, like that are going to enhance my experience of makeup, and feeling really shitty about it. I know that there is a lot in the beauty community at large of, you know, glorifying buying a lot of things. The smaller community kind of pushing back against that, I think, is important and useful. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't think anybody's out to shame anybody or anything like that. But I think that there is a middle of the road where you can say makeup is like the thing that I love, and I love the experience of trying makeup, and I love the experience of like getting something because I'm curious about it, because I hear people talk about it and I want to know what I think, right? That there is a way to go about that that is both productive and not wasteful and can be done without shame or guilt. And that's something that I want to bring. I feel like I've done so much work in therapy on this that hopefully it's a thing that I can bring. But here I was struggling with that feeling. Because I think that, as minimalism kind of takes off as a thing, I'm surrounded by these messages of like this implication that it is better, like ethically better, to have fewer things. And if you buy a lot of things, that means that you were weak in some way, or that you failed in some way. And I don't think that's true. And I don't think that's true for me or for makeup or anything like that in my life. So I thought it was really interesting that even though this is like a thing that I like really, really believe in and have very recently come to that kind of feeling that like it's okay to have a lot of makeup, I still struggle with that. And I still struggle with thinking about how much eyeshadow I've bought this month. But I don't necessarily need to, because everything has a purpose at the moment. And for some of it right now, the purpose is trying it out, getting the experience of trying something new and seeing what I think. And the purpose of that thing might change. It might grow and be different. But that doesn't mean that the time that I spent with it and the knowledge I gained from it was a waste. Kind of grappling with that with my spouse, and Amani was super helpful. If they're watching this, thanks babe, I love you. To say like, I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't hurt myself. And my impulse decisions were about free things. I don't have anything to feel bad about. And once I was able to let that go, I felt a lot better. And now I just feel very impatient for it to get here. Hi.
Hi.
You're on camera.
Hi, camera.
I turned it off at first, but then you had a kitty.
Oh, I see.
Hey, Whitey. So yeah, that was my experience, and it was such like, it's now several days later, and the intensity of it was is somewhat lessened. It's my demon cat moves around in the background, and I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, because another part of the channel is just me talking about makeup, which I like to do. Ultimately, I guess the takeaways here are that I didn't hurt anybody. I spent a lot of money, but that money was thoughtfully done. And the impulse decisions that I made were about free things. Outside of how am I going to manage an influx of 100 eyeshadows into my collection, which there will be another video about, I feel really good and I feel really excited. And I'm looking forward to my orders getting here. I think that's all I have to say on this. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Have you experienced anything like this where you just went a little crazy and maybe you had to like talk yourself out of beating yourself up about it? Let me know. I feel like that's super relatable. I don't know. If you like me and my flowing red hair, please do also subscribe to the channel. I upload on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the foreseeable future. You can find me around the internet at Faces by Gina. I have an Instagram and a Facebook page where I upload every single day, which means that you get looks there that you're not going to see here. So that's a good reason to join the fun. I hope that you're having a great day wherever you are, and please remember to think critically about the world around you and take good care of yourself and be good to others as well. I'll see you out there on the internet. Bye.